How is a woman able to wage war on her enemies without any weapons herself? How is that possible unless that woman is the weapon? Hi YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to continue our study in Esther, and today we are going to open up my favorite part of Esther. This is my favorite part of Esther because we are going to talk about divine feminine strategy. And I think I'm going to cut this into two parts. So today will be part 1. And my next video will be part 2 of examining Esther's divine feminine strategy. Now, I think that I picked up this term from other feminine focused channels that more talk about kind of the new agey, like feminine goddess, whatever. I think I've heard divine feminine strategy somewhere in that world. But to me, Esther's actions when she finally took on the call to action to kind of stand up and be the leader, she begins her strategy. And this strategy to me is divine in the true sense, meaning she goes to God. And it's feminine because it's not exactly the way that a man might go about trying to save his people. And it's a strategy because the way that Esther goes about this is not usual. It's not without calculation. To me, Esther depicts true divine feminine strategy. In my last video, I touched on this in the end, what Esther's response was to Mordecai, but I didn't really touch on the things that she requested before she went into the king, because that is where the strategy began. Let's read that now, Esther 4:15. Then Esther told them to give this answer to Mordecai. Go, gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan and fast for me, and neither eat nor drink for 3 days, night or day. I also and my maids will fast as you do. Then I will go to the king, though it is against the law, and if I perish, I perish. So Mordecai went away and did all that Esther had commanded him. That is very interesting. I mean, just to touch on it really quick, that's so interesting to me that even Mordecai took what Esther said and humbled himself and submitted to that direction and went ahead and did as she had commanded him. There is a give and take with responsibility as it pertains to circumstance. That aside, I'm done with the obedience videos, although it's probably going to bleed into the rest of my videos anyway, because that's such a core piece of Esther's triumph in her own story. The reason why I want to look at this again is because I believe it's very important to look at the way Esther thought, the way she strategized, how she went about that. It's so amazing to me that a woman is able to defend and protect her people without having her own army. How is a woman able to wage war on her enemies, killing thousands of people who wanted to destroy the Jews without any weapons herself? How is that possible unless that woman is the weapon? Unless the way she strategizes and the way she goes about things and the way she approaches power is the weapon. So I want to know how Esther thinks. How did she go about this? And it starts right here in this verse. So what was the first thing that she said? She said, go and gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan. Esther was aware of the resource she had in her community. She was aware that she could call on them for help, for assistance. This goes back to what I mentioned in my series on the Proverbs 31 woman. There's a video that I did about delegation, how important it is to delegate, to ask for help, not to try and carry the weight of the world on your shoulders alone. This is an essential part, to me, of divine feminine strategy. When you're up against a challenge, don't try and solve it yourself. Look for help, look for resource, look for human resource. Women have a gift in creating community. We have a gift in identifying people who can help us in certain tasks. Esther was aware of her community. She was aware of the resource she had in people joining her in a fast. This is a fast. This is a coming before the Lord in submission, in the most humble state, not eating. Why do we fast? Why do we deprive our body of food? I'm not a theologian. I don't know what the origins of fasting are, but I know why I fast. I fast to quiet my body and its cravings. I fast to quiet my mind, my soul, my will, my emotions, so that I can hear clearly in the Spirit. When I am clearly hearing in the Spirit, I can hear God's voice. I can hear His instruction. I can hear His direction. And this is just my definition of it. You fast to subdue your body. You fast to subdue your soul. Your soul is your mind, your will, and your emotions. When you quiet your body, you say your cravings are not in charge. And then your mind, your will, and your emotions say, no, but it is important because you have this to do tomorrow and you need the energy. And well, you're cranky, you need something to eat. And those are your mind, will, and emotions. And you say, no, you and you are not in charge. I need to get to the spirit of things right now. I need to go to the authority in the spirit realm. I need to approach the king in the spirit realm. So I need to be all ears spiritually. The Holy Spirit is speaking, and I need to hear this loud and clear. Esther was able to humble her body, and I'm not going to go into why that is so important. My last 3 videos were all about obedience, submission, and humbling yourself. So watch those videos if you want to know why and where that comes from, why that is so important to Esther, how she was able to utilize that to get herself to high places. But this is another instance of it, of that ability to humble oneself, to submit oneself, your body, your mind, your will, your emotions, under the instruction of authority. So that's number 2. Number 1 was she asked for help. She didn't take on the weight of the world by herself. She asked for help. She utilized her community. Number 2, she submitted and humbled her body, her mind, her will, her emotions, under the instruction of divine authority, which is God. So lastly, I want to ask this question. What is it that you think happened during that 3 days of fasting? In other words, what do you think Esther was getting from those 3 days of fasting? If my theory of fasting is correct, that it's about hushing up your mind, your will, your emotions, and your body in order to hear clearly what God is saying to your spirit, what do you think God was saying? What might God have told Esther to do strategically in order to win this battle with no weapons and no army? Only what she carried within herself. Please leave your answers down in the comments below. It doesn't tell us what God told her. Whether he gave her the go-ahead, he said, I'll be with you. It doesn't tell us what he said. But what the Bible does do is it tells us what actions Esther took after this 3 days. I believe that the actions that she took after these 3 days are what God gave her. It's the strategy that she received in those 3 days of prayer and fasting that we see in the following chapters. This is just how I see it. Esther was almost like a secret agent. She was receiving orders from the Most High. Esther was essentially a Trojan horse, unassuming, beautiful, attractive, but she was the weapon. This is how a woman fights. This is how, in my opinion, a woman wins. So I'll leave you with that today. I hope that this blessed you. I hope this intrigued you. I hope that you'll come back to my next video so that we can examine the strategy, the divine feminine strategy of Esther. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, share, comment down below. And until next time, God bless. Bye.